Hello, everybody. Brian here. Just wanted to go over the US dollar because we should be concerned about where the US dollar is at right now. I'm going to show you two charts. This is the turning point for the US dollar DXY, US dollar index around February 24th. You can see Bitcoin started to really take off then. I think this is just due to the headlines you don't read about where the concerns of the U.S. government, debt situation, along with credibility of the U.S. dollar. So let me get rid of this Bitcoin. So now you can see the indirect relationship between U.S. dollar and gold. So we also show silver in here. Get rid of that. As you can see right here, it took off. And this is going back all the way to February 9th. So you can see here, gold dropped, DXY strengthened, and same here, the DXY started to decline, and then gold started to take off. So there is proof there that there is an indirect relationship between US dollar or DXY and the gold, along with Bitcoin as well. But there's more of an indirect, predictable relationship between gold and US dollar. So here, I want to show, which is more concerning. Everything loaded up here is in US dollar. So here's the DXY. So this is a 2-hour chart over the last 6 months. So we are going all the way back to September. So you can see here DXY is at the lowest point. Meanwhile, these other currencies are performing better. So when you look at the ruble, number one at 8.4%, British pound 2%, same with euro, China yuan, and even the Japanese yen starting to strengthen as well. So that is something to be concerned with. Just flipping between screens here. So what does that mean is that the US dollar DXY, the credibility is now being questioned. There's a slew of articles out there asking. This is where I got the notion to create this stream. But some of these sources are from the ICE. And this right here is where you got to be quite concerned about. So if you look in the last month, you can see what's really happening here is the dollar start to decline in around here on the 28th of February. Things started to really take off, but you can see here, even the Japanese yen started to strengthen against the dollar. So the dollar is now starting to drop back as part of the weakest currencies. But as you can see here, that the ruble and the China yuan are still stronger over the DXY. So when you look at, again, let me pull up year to date. So you can see here, the dollar has performed fairly well, but then the things started to get stronger from, let's say, 6 month right here. In the last 6 months, you can see that the DXY has dropped back quite a bit. All the other currencies, including the ruble and the yuan, have taken off. And remember, these are countries that have been sanctioned by the U.S. government and the West, basically. And the question is, why are they strengthening as well? And the ruble is typically the strongest out of the lot. A couple of answers is between China and Russia. China is exporting its products to Russian consumers, and the ruble or the Russian economy is doing well because they're exporting gas, oil to China. And they're totally bypassing the US dollar. So this is just another way to look at the early stages of the BRICS might start to take off while US sanctions don't clearly seem to be working. And overall, the US dollar is starting to lose credibility. Now, long term, I can't say. Will the U.S. dollar collapse? I can't say. But when it's starting to decline like that, that's because of a couple things that are happening that most people are not hearing. Number one is that the interest rate to service the $34 trillion of the U.S. government, that $1 trillion in interest is now exceeding the U.S. military. So it is weakening the U.S. and generally a lot of the West as well. And the BRIC countries, namely Brazil, Russia, India, are also starting to strengthen. Namely, here are China, the CNH, already up 1.9%, and has been for a while now. The ruble has been doing quite well at 8.4%. So that's just to show you what's been going on with the U.S. Now, long term, I don't know, as I said, if that's going to continue to drop. But when you're on the YouTube with the doom scrolling, this is what these doom sayers on YouTube are talking about, that the U.S. dollar is starting to tank. That should be a concern for a lot of people. As I've mentioned also in various other platforms that I have, inflation's kicking in with oil along with copper. So if the Chinese economy strengthens, you can expect inflation to impact the U.S. and the West generally, because if China starts to strengthen, copper will go up along with oil as well. So that'll negatively affect the U.S. and Western economies. So as I said, I put up a post yesterday about this, is that the U.S. government and people in the U.S. should be concerned about this, because it's going to mean inflation will continue. And what the Fed's promising to cut interest, I don't think will happen. They've already stated back in late fall that they would start to cut in March, and they're nowhere close to that. And I've got note on the Canadian government, the Bank of Canada won't even start cutting their interest rates until at the earliest in September. So all this info about food, oil, and copper as well, metal as well, those are starting to pick up. Now, also, if you look at the market sectors as well, oil's starting to come back as a sector in the market for stocks, as well as material, which is generally a lot of the resources and minerals in the U.S. And oil is starting to, the oil energy sector is starting to pick up as well. So that means that the economies are starting to, manufacturing starting to pick up, but the inflation is going to come back as well. So the Federal Reserve won't be able to cut back on its interest. Obviously, that'll exacerbate the employment rate as well. So personally, I think it's not looking good, even though Western media will tell you otherwise. But as I said, the charts here, the data here does not lie. And sometimes you can't really pay a lot of attention to what you hear in Western media. Anyways, I'm going to stop there, and thanks for watching.